Did you see it's on magic loop? No DPNs. Good day everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mariette, also known as the Boervrou, and this is episode 9 of the Crafty Stitches Podcast. Today is the 18th of April 2022 and I'm coming to you from Gauteng province in South Africa. You can find me on Ravelry, Facebook and Instagram as the Boervrou, as well as on my website boervrou.co.za. Today I am drinking a little bit of ginger tea. I don't know if you'd be able to see that. I don't think so. It's just basically some ginger root with boiling water, and I usually just drink the tea just with the water. But today I felt like a little treat and I added a bit of sherbet that I make myself to sweeten it up a bit. And it's really good. Okay, so let's get into this episode. Today I am wearing a little bit of crochet. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's just like a camisole top. I'll add a picture in here for you to see what it looks like. I made it from Nurturing Fibers Eco Bamboo. It's 100% bamboo. I bought the yarn at my first ever fiber festival in 2019 when we had one in Magaliesburg, very near to where I live. So I bought it there and I freestyled this top. I just made a few little blocks and I just winged it and made this little top. That is what I am wearing. So let's get into finished objects. I do have a few. Not exactly sure how I should show this to you. I made a few. I spoke about it in the previous episode, and I made a few yarn cake cozies, acrylic yarn cake cozies, and I added these little snaps to them, and I made let me just try and get this out here. Let me try it like that. I made a little tray, as you can see there, and added some snaps to that as well to organize this project bag a little bit. Just snap that back in, this one back in. Okay. Anyway, so that I can just organize this project bag that is holding one of my new cast-ons. I was thinking, I think I must maybe go over this design again and redo this bag. Well, not this one, but the pattern, with holding 2 strands of yarn to give it a bit more structure. But anyway, so that is part of my finished objects. So that is, I think, 1, 2, it's 2 or 3, no, it's 2. 2 yarn cake, 50 gram yarn cake cozies, and the little tray that I made. For the tray I used 2 strands of the Lullaby, held together with a 3.5mm hook to make it quite dense and give it a bit of structure. But anyway, So that is one of the finished objects. And then my second finished object are these socks. They are finished, you guys. They're finished, and I am so happy about that fact. Right. These socks are made with African Expressions sole, which is 15% kit mohair, 15% mulberry silk, 50% merino wool, and 20% polyamide. I made these socks with 2.3mm DPNs, and it took me forever because I'm not a DPN fan. I can work with DPNs, but if I must choose, they are last in line. Okay, so this is the socks. I know these socks look big, but my husband did put them on and they fit. So his feet measures 27 centimeters from toe to heel, and these fit very well. So in the previous recording, this sock was up to that space, where I decided I'm going to stop and then first knit this sock. And then I started this sock, and in my previous recording, I was there just before the gusset increases and the heel. So I finished it up to here. I blocked it, and I must just snip away these ends. They're already woven in, and as I said, I did wash and block them. I'm so glad these socks are finished, and I'm so proud of myself for sticking to the DPNs and actually getting them done, because it was quite a labor of love. This navy is a bit hard to see, especially when your lighting is not optimum. Like in the evenings, it's a bit harder to knit on these. But anyway, so after the toe, I won't go into too much details. All of my project pages will be linked below. But after I've done the increases for the toe, I've knitted 180 rounds from after the toe until before the cuffs. So yes, that's quite a lot of knitting. But anyway, so these are finished. So happy about that. So now you can wear these, and I've shown them on the podcast. I never thought that I'll tell my husband, listen, your socks is finished, but you can't have them. I first want to show them on the podcast. Anyway, he took them off his feet and just gave them back. Anyway, so now we can have them. Alrighty, so that is the socks. Oh, and this is what I have left of the 2 balls of yarn that I used. My scale cannot decide if it's 0 grams or 2 grams, so I don't really mind, but I'll just keep this little piece and throw it in my little jar of leftovers to use in another pair of the same blend of socks in the future. Alright, so that is all of my finished objects. So my first whip, so my summer crochet top, is the project that I nominated for the Account Buddy train on Instagram, driven by Gertruida from Ietsie Klein. So this is what it looks like at the moment. Let me now quickly see. So this is where I was at in my previous episode. It's this top marker, and this one was where I was for my previous Account Buddy check-in. I actually missed the check-in this Friday, so I'll have to do that. I'm behind. Anyway, I'll just do that, and then I'll move. Let me move this one now, because otherwise I'm going to get. Oh, and both these stitch markers are made by Gertruida from Ietsie Klein. You can see that one. Anyway, so yes, this is my, as I said, my summer crochet top. It is fitting and it's not going wonky in all directions. So I'm very, very happy about that. I did do, let me just think, did I put a marker in? Yes, I did. I just did another increase round for a little bit of A-line shaping. And I am alternating skeins because I did see that the yarn that I have really does have a big difference. I don't know if you can't really see it if you look at it, but if you just go to another ball, you can see that it's the one ball doesn't have as much white and lighter purple pieces in it as the other. So I am alternating skeins for this. I don't know if you'll be able to see the little bit of a stripy effect that makes. But anyway, so that is perfectly fine. I am using a, what did I throw on the floor? No. I'm using a 5mm hook for this project. And I am using the Moya Cotton Piccolo. The Moya Cotton Piccolo in the colorway Periwinkle. And it is 100% cotton. I did make a few notes on what I would change when I do this again. So I'm definitely going to make this design again and try to incorporate short rows in it. But for now, this one is just gonna be like this. I do love it. I love the color. I love what it looks like at the moment. So we will see what it looks like when it's finished. I haven't decided on any borders or edging or anything. But I'm first gonna finish the body and then see what I have left to see how long the sleeves will be. Because it's gonna be short sleeved, but maybe it won't really have that much of a sleeve, depending on how much yarn I have left after the body. So that is my summer crochet top. Let me move the train on here. My next whip is my Beekeeper Cardigan. So this is my Beekeeper Cardigan. So many yarns going everywhere. And ends that's not woven in, but anyway. So let me see. This is how long it's become. So in the previous episode, I was at this stitch marker from Made by Irene of the Lekker podcast. I hope you can see that. So I added all of this to the cardigan. I didn't work as much on this one because I first wanted to finish this ball of yarn. So I first wanted to finish the ball of yarn that I attached at this progress keeper here, because I wanted to see if I'm really playing yarn chicken for this project. And then yesterday I had a bit of a cleanup and I wound up almost all of the rest of the yarn. And it seems like I'll be fine. Okay, so that is the progress of my Beekeeper Cardigan. I am still really enjoying this project a lot. This cardigan does not have A-line shaping, and I'm still debating a little bit with myself if I'm going to try and do some shaping or rather not. We shall see what happens in the next 2 weeks. So I'm very, very happy with this one. I am looking so forward to wearing this one. I now have so much yarn that's caked up here. The project bag is a bit of a mess. I don't know if I said I'm using 5mm needles to knit that project. My next WIP is my corner to corner waffle stitch blanket, which I am making with a 4.5mm hook, and I am using 100% acrylic cones that I have that's just lying around for this project. So I did give it a bit of love this 2 weeks. That is what it's looking like so far. And yes, it is growing. I think we're going to need it very quickly, much quicker than we think. But that is the amount of rows that I added. Let me just move this little owl of mine. And then I can know where it was in the next episode. So that did get a little bit of love, which I'm very happy about. My next 2 WIPs is new cast-ons. I did talk about this one in the previous episode, which is the OUT-Stranding Shawl by Christie Archer. I started the shawl as part of the knit-along that is hosted by Nitty Natty and Yarnia, which is a yarn shop in New York. They are hosting the Spring Shawl Cowl 2022 for this project, where they chose a design. They chose 3 designs and we voted on which shawl we would like to make. And this is the one that won, and obviously I cast it on. Okay, so I'm having this in this bag that I was talking about with all of my yarn cozies and yarns that I intend to make this project with. So I'm keeping the needles in this needle cozy because this is a crochet project bag. They tend to just poke through, so I like to put my needles in a needle cozy so that does not happen. Alright, so this is what my shawl looks like so far. I cannot stretch it out enough because the cable is a bit short, but it's a fixed cable, so yes. Anyway, so this is what the shawl is looking like so far. I actually have been further than this, but I made a mistake, and I was debating, should I or shouldn't I, should I frog or should I not? And I was speaking to a friend on Sunday, and she said usually if she wonders about should she frog, she rather frogs because it's just gonna bother her at the end of the day. So I decided, okay, well, that's just the little push I needed, and I frogged. Let me add a progress keeper to this one so that we can follow my progress. This is also a stitch marker by Ietsie Klein. I am using, I should say, this pattern is written for a for fingering weight yarn, and I'm using double knit yarns. I did make a gauge swatch, and I've got 17 stitches instead of 23 stitches in 4 inches. So I must still go and work out how much that is bigger so that I can see when I should stop with this shawl and start the color work, because otherwise I think this shawl might be very big. But for now I'm not really that bothered. I've checked, and I think I have just a little bit less than half of the stitches that I should have before the color work. So I think that should be my next mission, to work out to how many stitches I should work for the shawl. But anyway, I am making this shawl with L cotton on double knit yarn. This is the clay colorway, but I think it's been discontinued, the colorway, not the yarn. Let me just put this back. And then I plan to just use some Moya cotton double knit yarn for the stranding. I've got some Moya and some Raisha and some, I don't know what else, some of the L Premier double knit cottons. So we shall see when I get to the stranding part with the color work what I will choose, and that I think will be a lot of fun. Right, so that is my new cast on. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to say about that. No, I think that's it. Okay, so because the socks is finished that I had on my needles, I decided that I'm now going to make a pair of socks for myself. So I asked Leanie from Independence Crochet if she has any suggestions for a patterned sock, because I've only done vanilla socks with fingering weight yarn. I've only done one patterned sock in double knit yarn, which was an acrylic, just an acrylic blend. No, it's not acrylic blend, it was just 100% acrylic yarn. But anyway, so I chose this pattern, which is the Irene Socks from Tracie of the Grocery Girls. The name of the socks is inspired by her grandmother that taught her how to knit. So I decided I'm going to do this sock pattern, and I'm using the yarn that I swapped from Leanie, which is Esteresa Yarn Creations, in the Clio base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, in their 3-ply sock fingering weight yarn. And this is what I have so far. Did you see it's on magic loop? No DPNs. Anyway, I've missed my magic loop needles. Anyway, so this is what I have so far. This yarn is really, really pretty. That's what the cake looks like. I decided to, again, just do one at a time. And I put it in my 100-gram yarn cake cozy. Seems I'm a little bit blue today. Wearing blue yarn cake cozy, bluish mixed yarns. Anyway, I don't feel blue. but apparently I am a little blue. Anyway, so okay, let me come back to the podcast. Right, so what I did is I haven't started the patterning yet. I'm still busy with the cuff. So I decided to do the German twisted cast on because the pattern says you can use whatever stretchy cast on you like. And then I did a 2x2 ribbing for the cuff. I'm going to do 20 rounds as I usually do. And then I'm going to start the patterning of the sock. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to say. This yarn is actually part of a sock set. This is a mini that came with the sock set. But I decided I think I might use the mini for the heels and the toes, but not the cuffs. So I'll see what I feel like when I get to that. I know that if I don't use the mini, this this color is about approximately 80 grams. So I will get a pair of socks out of this and I will be left with about 15 or so grams of yarn when I do normal vanilla socks. But now because this has got patterning on it, I might use a bit more. So I think I'll make the heels and the toes out of the mini when I get to that. So I am just enjoying this so much, not using DPNs. I really love this yarn. This is really pretty. So I am using my 2.5 millimeter. Maybe I should just say the pattern is written for a 2.25 millimeter sock needles, but I'm using my 2.5 millimeter Chaigu needles as I usually knit the socks, and we'll see how that turns out. I think it'll be fine. Okay, so that is my new socks. Oh, I should add a progress keeper to this before I forget. Hold on. Let's move into news. Alright, so for news, so last week I brought out the tutorial for how I make my honeycomb stitch Indonesian crochet join as you go scrappy blanket, which is this year. I really enjoyed making this tutorial. It was really fun. And if you are looking for a scrappy project, this tutorial is more of a recipe style tutorial where I tell you make the block as big as you like. Write down the amount of stitches that you did and the amount of rows that you did, and then weigh it to make sure that you've got enough yarn for the next ones. And then I give all of my tips and tricks on how I make mine. So if you're interested, I'll link that video for you if you want to go check that out. So that is the tutorial that came out. Okay, and I've also made my first ever vlog if you're interested. It is linked down below. It was quite a lot of fun doing that. My next tutorial will be on granny squares, how I join my granny squares with a join as you go method. It is not a continuous join as you go where you just join them all in a row and go back. This is to join every block just as you made it to the next and to the next. So it's just a join as you go method for joining your granny squares. That'll be up next week, Wednesday. I just want to also say thank you so much to everybody that is watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. It really does mean a lot. Thank you for your support. And then that is all that I have for you today. My comment question for this week is, please tell me, what projects are you working on? Just for funsies. You just saw everything that I have on the needles, so I would love to know what you're working on. If you have liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more of my content, and I will see you in the next one. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.